Hello, thank you for coming. My name is David Fawcett, and I'm going to try to juggle my microphone and my notes and a book. So the outline, what I wanted to do today was share a little bit about not just reading from the book, I'm going to do some of that as well, but to also talk about kind of why I wrote this book and some of the information that it contains. And then I'd like to open it up for Q&A as well, because I think one of my goals in writing this is to really get the conversation going. I think we have a big problem. And I'm from Florida. I know it's in New York up here and everywhere. We have gay men, and we're not talking about it, I think, as much as we need to. So that was one of the goals. So the outline today is really to kind of talk a little bit about why I wrote it. I want to read some from it, and then really I'd love to have a conversation with all of you at the end. So why did I write this book? I've been working as a therapist with gay men for about 30 years in Fort Lauderdale, doing a lot of addictions work. I'm also a sex therapist. And about 15 years ago, I started seeing a lot of gay men coming into my office complaining of sexual dysfunction, not about addiction. And with a little bit of probing and doing a more complete assessment, I discovered that there was a lot of methamphetamine going on. That was the real cause of some of the sexual dysfunction and a lot of addictive behavior as well. Their lives were kind of crashing and burning. I had clients, people that I discharged, we terminated from therapy, they were doing well, came back, lost 40 pounds, lost their lover, lost their house, lost their job, and had found methamphetamine. And so I started looking around for answers, what was going on. And what I discovered is that there weren't a lot. Some of you may know that there's this fusion that happens with methamphetamine and sex when they're used together, and it becomes very, very difficult to, once in recovery, to separate those things. And I think there was a general feeling of kind of hopelessness about the situation. And that's the second reason I wanted to write this book, is that there are solutions. People do get better, people do recover. And I think that message is really important to get out. One of the things that happened, that was about 15 years ago. Some of you may remember methamphetamine peaked, and then it kind of died away. And it died away because the federal government had a great idea to restrict the amount of pseudoephedrine used to, they call them the mom and pop labs that used to blow up in the barns out in the Midwest periodically. They limited the amount of Sudafed people could get, and that really solved the problem temporarily. Around 2006, if you tried to buy Sudafed, you'll notice that you have to show your driver's license and go to the pharmacy. You can't get it anymore. But that didn't do anything to reduce demand. And so what happened was that a lot of people still wanted methamphetamine, and in stepped the Mexican drug cartels. And there are now industrial factories on the border that create massive amounts of meth. And it's unfortunately higher purity and cheaper cost. And so we're seeing this much more addictive substance really flood the market again. And so now it's back. And so I think probably New York is the same. In Florida for about the last 2 or 3 years, it started to kind of bubble up, and now it's really the topic of conversation. Interestingly, in the UK, there's a lot of publicity right now about so-called chemsex. We don't call it that here, but it's the same phenomenon of methamphetamine and G and some other stimulants that they use together. So I wanted to write this book because it's been kind of a journey for me as well. I'm in recovery, but not from methamphetamine. I'm recovering from alcohol. I'm HIV positive, and so a lot of these guys that I was seeing were really family, and I wanted to see what was going on.